Welcome back to Messy Moments Included. We're your hosts, Abby.
And Mac.
And today we are coming to you from a different location, Denver,
Yes.
which is our first episode in our
Carry On Conversation series, which is our travel series.
We are so excited to be bringing on this series, and I think it's such a cute name. More to come on our trip. This is only our second night. We have one more night to go.
We have one more night and a full day left.
And we leave on
Tuesday
morning, Sunday night. So yeah, today's episode we are going to be talking about why traveling with different personalities can actually be better.
Like traveling with different personalities, what that looks like, how it can benefit and sometimes test you in your relationships with friends, family.
And it'll bring out people's true colors and sometimes bring out ugly, sometimes bring out the best, and sometimes either strengthen friendships or
break them apart.
Yes.
And so that's the point of this series today, or tonight. I guess you can tell us nighttime. But before we jump into it, we're going to go ahead and pray. Yeah. So, dear Heavenly...
Go for it.
I'm so used to it. I'm so sorry.
We are going to tag team this prayer because Mac, it just came so naturally to you.
I'm so sorry.
This was the first time that I was like, yeah, Mac, you can pray. You're so good at this. And she was like, oh, do you mind? I was like,
for whatever reason, the Holy Spirit took me over.
I think it was for a reason.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. I don't like praying, but I have a hard time praying on the spot sometimes, or like when I know I'm being recorded, it makes me feel really awkward.
But for whatever reason, I'm so
Mac
sorry,
was like,
Abby.
I am on it. So let's go ahead and get into our prayer.
Okay, dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for just shared laughter and friendship, God. Thank you for the people that you bring in our lives to bring smiles to our faces and just the way you shine. God, I pray that you bless those who are listening or tuning in by watching this episode, God. I pray that you continue to be with them in their journey of life. And God, and just guard and protect them. Keep them safe and healthy and help them to get to where they're going safely. God, and we just thank you for every year and person that decides to watch this. And we just ask that you bless them in this. And in your heavenly name we pray and claim. We thank you too, Jesus, for this fun little travel series we started and for our hiccups and our messy moments.
God, we pray that you use us in whatever way and bring this to fruition if it's your will. And yeah, like Mike said, bless whoever is hearing this. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Holy Spirit, activate.
It literally went pop off.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to me.
Hey, you know what? God was like, you don't want to pray? Let's pray. You were
He
going
pressed
to.
my button when I didn't expect it to be pressed.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, God. Okay, so anyhow, Carry On Conversations is the name of this travel series. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about just how when you are such good friends with somebody, I think specifically because this relates for us, when you're such good friends with somebody in day-to-day life and then you take your first trip together, that can really test your friendship.
Yeah, I can kind of attest to this. I have personal experience with this. Not with you. I feel like you were the first friendship that I was like, okay, we can do this. So the first big trip that me and Mac took together was to Japan, and I was kind of scared when she was like, if you want to go for a month, I was like, that's a long time to spend with somebody, and you're either gonna come back as friends,
have a stronger than ever,
or you're gonna come back and you're never gonna speak to that person again.
And I remember that really was before we delved into it, because I remember at some point you were trying to be so sweet and you were asking if there's in a sense a time when we just need alone time. Is there a word we could use or something? Because you were trying to be so because she was trying to be so sweet about it.
I know myself, especially when I'm with somebody that's brand new, I don't know how to. You never know how to communicate with them, and sometimes even at that point in my life, I had a harder time communicating with people and communicating my emotions. Because I was scared that I was going to scare somebody off if I was too harsh.
Also, it's hard because you're trying to figure out, that's a boundary that you haven't yet had to figure out with your friendship.
Yeah,
if you can just say it kindly and they know where your heart is without it seeming harsh, that you need alone time. And I remember,
I remember I don't know if you remember this, but expressing my are you sure you want to spend that much time together?
I do remember that.
Like in a nice way. I was just like,
Yeah,
just
and
because it was a month.
I
And a
think
month
at
is a
some
long
point,
time.
I think maybe I'm just like a goofy person, but at some point I was literally like, well, if you need alone time, you can just tell me that. Like, because, but for me, I'm the same way. Like, sometimes I just need, not necessarily alone time, but maybe more like downtime or quiet time.
Quiet time, like just to recoup, because traveling can be really stressful at times. And when you're navigating that with somebody else, like if you're stressed and overwhelmed and they're stressed and overwhelmed, like sometimes things can come out harsher than they necessarily mean to be, just because you're already
you're already in cold water because you're in a new environment.
Yeah.
And so then on top of that, you're trying to maintain your relationship with somebody, and on top of that, you're also having other emotions going on. And so like I know like one of the top ones is like exhaustion. I feel like when we get exhausted, like our kindness slowly starts to go away. And so like not us personally, but in general as people, we all get like just tired,
snappy,
or hangry, or I mean that's normal. That's so normal.
It's like your social cues start going out the window almost.
Yes.
Or it's like they're dwindling and you're like, I don't know how to navigate this because I feel like I'm being a meanie about it. And it's not that. It's just like, hey, maybe you need a 30-minute power nap.
Yes.
Or just like spend some time being quiet and then you'll be fine. Because I know that like, we'll talk about this more when we get into it, but like when we arrived in Denver and stuff, we had only gotten like an hour to 2 hours of sleep.
Yes.
And I think, I don't know if it's like the older we get or the older I get, I'm like, wait, I actually need more. You can't run on 2 hours of sleep.
No, because we were both like, we were going downhill, but I think we've also gotten to a point where we know our friendship enough and we know our relationship enough that it was like, hey, like actually when we get some of these things out of the way, do we want to just take a chill pill or power nap and then kind of go from there?
Yeah.
And that was totally fine with both of us.
Yeah.
But that's something that really unpacks is like you see a whole other person's side of their personality when you do travel, because I'm sure there were things about me you didn't know until you knew.
Until we like were traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you only get the highlight reels when you're like friendships in a sense of like you see each other for very specific occasions, or you see each other like at very specific times of the day that you already pre-planned in a sense.
So it's going to be a good time and it's going to be positive, and not that you don't have things where you have hard conversations in your friendship, but I think when you have all these different factors coming together and then you realize, oh my gosh, we have different personalities. Like I know for me, one of my best friends, her and I laugh about this to this day, because our friendship, we have been friends for over 15 years now. And her and I, she will tell you this too, we almost lost our friendship when we went to the beach.
Oh my gosh, yes, I remember this. Okay, I remember you telling me this.
Yes.
So that was like one of the reasons that I was scared. Well, not because of you, because I didn't know about that situation until you divulged it later. But like when I was turning 21, I took a trip with some of my friends, and it was like the first trip I ever took with a group of girls. And I was friends with each one of them individually, and we all had really good relationships. Not really. There was 2 girls that were kind of having like a little stifle. Like one of them came up to me and she was like, I really just can't stand this girl. Like she just seems like she's like all about herself. And I was like, no, she really isn't. Like she's really sweet, I promise. Obviously I wouldn't have been friends with her if she was not a nice person. But they were having like this little riff. And then that put me in an awkward situation because I was there trying to manage that friendship, and like I was seeing the side of this one person that I was like, oh, I hadn't seen this before, and I don't really like it. And I'm like, how do I like talk to you about this? And it was just like, I feel like our friendship was different coming out from that, because at the same time I felt very disrespected because it was my birthday weekend and I was being put in a position where it was like,
you're a mediator instead of enjoying your birthday.
Yes, exactly. There's a whole other part of that story too, where I ended up sleeping on the floor.
Wait, maybe I haven't heard this. What? Okay, yeah,
we'll divulge that later, maybe.
But yeah, no, but it is hard because like then when you're in the middle of it, because like let's keep this in mind. Her name is Katie, my one of my sweet friends, and her and I will laugh about this. That's why like I feel very okay to share this, because she would say the same thing. Like she is a travel person, not a vacation person, where I am both. I love to travel, and I loved a vacation, and there's a difference in that. Vacationing is going to be laying back the whole time and resting.
Yeah, doing nothing, bomb city.
Traveling is going place to place.
Yeah.
And you can put in rest in that, but it is a different activity. And she grew up traveling. I did not. And so our first trip together, we go to the beach, and she was like losing her mind. And only because she was like going stir crazy. She was like, there's nothing to do but go to the beach. And I was like, yes, let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
And, you know, and she also had a lot of things going on at that time too. So there was several factors, and we had to, after the trip, we had to take some time and then rehash it out. And I say hash it out lightly, but
Yeah.
just talk about it and what happened. And now, like, it's so funny because we're like, we could go travel somewhere together anywhere, but I'm not going to go to the beach with you. I love you. I'm going to the beach with you.
Well, I think that's where both of us are really like on the same page about, because we both can go to the beach and just do nothing and be beach bums. We can also go out and like travel and do our things. But I do think that it's important to like communicate our expectations.
Yes.
Because I think that that's what makes the difference on how our journey goes. Because like if we're not on the same page of like what we're expecting, then it's not going to be a good time. Or if we're wanting to do something and then the other person's like,
and learning how to communicate without like ruining the trip itself. Like if something comes up that bothers you, I'm sorry, you should be in a secure enough friendship to, if you're on a trip with this person, to be able to share, hey, that made me uncomfortable, or hey, can we maybe change this up, or whatever that may be. It's healthy to communicate that. And just remember disposition and how you come across, because obviously this is your friend. You know how to communicate with them and how they receive things. And it's both of y'all's responsibility, I mean, but.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent. I think like, yes, if you're traveling with somebody, you know them to an extent, but sometimes you travel with somebody, you don't know them that well.
Oh, I just mean like you're used to talking to them, like in day-to-day life, like you know how to talk to them in day-to-day life. If you start seeing something that's like totally out of behavior, you can address that. Like, if just remember that you are able to talk to this person daily, and if you're seeing something totally off, then I should have clarified, but
because I'm like, I could go on a trip with one of my friends that I've never been on a trip with before, and like I feel like that communication it comes deeper when you are traveling with them, because it's like, it's not, you're stuck with each other in a sense. Like, you're probably sharing a hotel room or a Airbnb or something.
And how do you handle it when things go wrong? Like, different personalities, like, that sometimes I have been with some people who, when things go wrong, it's like the world's ending. And like, don't get me wrong, there are times we have been together for each other angry in a situation that's happened on the trip, and we're both like but we're not angry at each other.
It's more like, okay, the situation really sucks. Like, where do we go from here?
And it's just become the thing. I know I've mentioned it in an earlier episode of like, it's just part of the plot at this point. Like, sometimes we just have to let it roll off our shoulders and laugh it off as an oopsie or whatever, because at the end of the day, you're there to have fun. Don't let that be the one thing that takes away from your time together with someone.
Yeah, life happens, like mistakes happen, or sometimes like things come up and it's like, oh, well, oops. A mistake, or oops. Like, there's been multiple times where we've booked Airbnbs and they are not great.
I would say it's not Airbnb as a company. They handle things very well. They're very good with their customer care. It sometimes is the host that their pictures are they're not as true to the expectation. It's like when you view an apartment online versus going and seeing it in person. Sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, everybody's experience is so different. So like, they might have really good reviews, but like, your experience going there is completely different, or you're checking like for different things, or
like the first trip we ever took in Florida.
Oh my gosh.
We thought we were going to end up in the car that night because
well, so Florida trip was a little bit different because we thought we could car camp. So we I don't know why we assumed that car camping in the 4th of July would be a good idea. So it was like 4th of July weekend that we were like, okay, well, we're gonna save some money. We're gonna car camp for like the first 2 nights or something like that. And then we had already pre-booked an Airbnb for like the 3rd night. And then we were gonna stay there throughout the trip, something like that.
Yeah.
We get to our Airbnb after staying 2 nights in the car.
And I'm like investigator when it comes
to inspector, which I really do appreciate. Like, that's something that I learned from Mac that I didn't really look at beforehand, is like looking at the sheets and looking at
And not because I want to
everything.
find something wrong. Let me clarify that. It's
No,
because
it's just cleanliness.
it's cleanliness, and it's also just the fact that like I don't want to take something home with me that I got from an Airbnb or a hotel or anywhere.
Yeah, you hear all these
Um,
horror stories of people like getting bed bugs or getting an
Mm-hmm.
infestation of some sort, and like you never want to be that one person where it's like you just blindly go in and trust that
Yeah.
something is okay.
And so that's more like where my heart is in that. It's definitely like I want to
No,
stay there.
yeah.
I don't want to be without a place to stay.
Yeah, but you also want to be somewhere where it's clean and you're not gonna have to worry about like bringing something home with you. And that place specifically, it looked really cute. Like when you walked in, there were some like cleanliness issues that were not great, and we ended up, how do I put this?
We ended up shaking down outside.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, that person probably didn't have a camera outside because I practically was in my underwear and bra
Well, yeah,
trying to shake out my clothes to make sure I wasn't taking any friends home with me. And
yeah, and I did the same thing because it freaked me out enough where I was like, this is really gross.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not doing this. But that being said, like, how did we handle that?
yeah,
We
because
were
we were
like-
put in a predicament at that point.
Because on one hand, we were already uncomfortable being in a situation where we were outside, already hot, sleeping in our car. We really were looking forward to staying somewhere and getting a good shower. And not that we weren't showering, we had gotten showers. I don't remember
Yeah.
how, but we did.
Yeah, no, like, and I think we only stayed one night in the car, and we were going to
Yeah.
end up staying two if we didn't find a place. And it was, like, too late at that point to, like, book something else. And, like,
Mhm.
we ended up booking.
Oh gosh, we booked
We
it.
really were put, like, this is a true, like, start of the test of a friendship.
Because this was our first
Our
real
first
trip.
ever trip together, ever. Before Japan, this was our taste, our toe in the water. And we then book at another hotel that I will not specify the name of. But
We problem solved enough to where we were like, okay, well, let's look for a hotel. It's going to be more than what we wanted to spend, but at least we'll know it's clean.
and we'll be somewhere to sleep for the night, have a shower.
Yeah, we'll be able to lay down comfortably, and it'll be cold, and like it'll be fine. And so we pay this extra, however much money.
Yeah, I think it was like we were going from paying like $120 to like $350, something wild.
Yeah, we go, we check. It's bad.
It's so bad that the lady gives me a key to 2 other rooms. I'm like, if this problem's in one room, it's going to be in all 3. And we go and check every room, and it was so bad that we were like, you can have the keys. Like, we're good.
We want our money back, and we're gonna get out of your hair. It's fine.
So then it's like 10 o'clock.
Oh gosh, it was later than that. I feel it was late. It was late. At that point, I think we were both very frustrated, and we weren't frustrated at each other. We were just frustrated at the situation because we were ready to be in bed.
Yeah, we were tired. We had spent the day at the beach.
So then we both get on Airbnb, and we are just like messaging anybody and everybody who would answer.
After a certain time, anybody, even if they had availability that day, it won't show because of how late we were looking for an Airbnb. So we were messaging people that maybe might have availability for that night.
Yeah. One sweet lady answered us.
God bless her.
God was watching over us. She answered, and she offered up her daughter's room or something.
Yeah, her daughter was out of town or something, so she was like, hey, I have a like full-size bed. She's like, I'll put clean sheets on it, because her actual, like, it was a shared Airbnb, or it was just an Airbnb, but on the other side of the house was her and her daughter's side.
Yeah.
And so she was like, my daughter's out of town. These sheets are clean. Like, you're more than welcome. She let us use her washer, like the whole 9. It was so sweet. And then the next day we moved over, once they cleaned the Airbnb and those people left, then we just stayed there for the rest of the time. It was a perfect situation. But had we not had the patience,
we
together,
probably would have just like, I don't know. We would have, I don't know.
we would have been in a mess.
I have no idea.
We handled that, and I would say, like, not to say, me and Abby have definitely had moments where we can feel that we're agitated with each other, or it's not really necessarily that it's at each other directly as much as it is like situationally, and then it's like we're trying not to take it out on each other because we're both kind of people pleasers to a default.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately and unfortunately. So it's like we know something's wrong with each other, but we're also gonna be like, no, everything's fine.
Yeah.
But in that like we've learned a lot about each other and how to communicate better. And even now, like even on this trip, I'm like, hey, I know we're saying this, you're saying this. we need to clarify because like it's nothing wrong. It's literally just miscommunication sometimes.
It's like I was expecting this, and you were expecting that. I just don't understand why we're like.
Yeah,
but it's just like okay, well, once you get it out, then they can get out what they're thinking, and then it's like, okay, well, that's where the issue was. Like, there's this miscommunication, and then it's like, okay, well, where do we go from here? Because we were both not on the same page, and it was like, oh, once we are on the same page,
and we just laughed about it.
Yeah,
we were just like, oh, that makes so much more sense. Now we're good.
Yeah,
and we weren't bad to begin with. It was just funny.
It was just like, I don't understand where you're coming from, or like, I don't understand what the difference is between going here and staying at the hotel.
And I was like, what if we do this and then we do this? And you're like, why do you think we have to do this? And I was like, well, was it? And I just remembered in a different light. And it's okay. I sometimes have, the memory of a fish. So, that being said,
our brain cells working.
Our brains are sinking. We happen to be very, we complement each other in a lot of ways in our friendship, in the sense that we're willing to work through something if something comes up and be like, hey, like, if something feels a little off, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you're traveling, if you have somebody who's not willing to do that, that's a big flag. Now, if they say they need some time to figure out their words or something like that, like, take that to heart. Like, understand that some people just need time to consider their thoughts so they have better choice of words.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was definitely me at the beginning, because I was like, I don't want to come off a certain way, because I am really frustrated, but I just don't want it to come off like I'm frustrated at you. I'm just frustrated at the situation, and I don't know how to, at that point, I didn't know how to communicate it without being like just frustrated in general.
Yeah, and so that's part of like learning each other and different personalities. So I would say, like, for me, myself personally, like, one of my number one suggestions when traveling and seeing different sides of people's personality, it would really just be to like take a breath, take a second, and like kind of like remove yourself from whatever your thoughts are and be like, what's the reality of this situation? Because even I can be emotional at times, and so I would definitely just say, like, consider that in how you communicate and approach your friend or whoever you're traveling with.
Yeah, I agree.
The other comes down to organization. Because
I was like, hello, are you there? Yes.
Like, different personality types. There's free-spirited, there's organized and following an itinerary by the time, an hour, and minute. And I would say we're a healthy mix.
I do think that we are healthy enough. Like, genuinely, I do. Because I think that we can both go with the flow, but we can also have, like, an itinerary. I would say more so a loose itinerary than a strict itinerary, unless we know we have, like, reservations somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we work around that.
And that's something we've learned as we've traveled, because we have done the looser plans, and we've also done the very strict itinerary, and then experienced changes we wanted out of both of those.
And I think it's like knowing where you're going versus not, and like how you want to approach it. Because I think like here in Denver, we had a more loose plan, but I think it's been helpful that I've been here previously, so I can give us like insights on like what's good to do, and what isn't. Whereas when we went to Ireland and we had a loose plan, it was kind of like and
it was an international. That was a lot different, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was bad. It was just, I think we would have had a lot better time had we had something that was more organized.
We would have benefited more in our trip.
And that's what we did with Japan. We had something that was like more. Those guys were just looking in. Sorry.
I know you're good.
We had something that was more organized. And like down to the T, like color coded. Like, I made an itinerary, I made an expense sheet,
Yeah, and I love that stuff. Like, genuinely, I do. It's just like how we were talking in the previous episode. I'm more of a paper girl. She's more of like an Excel sheet girl. And I can appreciate both. Also, if you hear anything in the background, we are in a public place, in a little corner.
Yeah, and there's people walking by here. There was like a group of 5 or 6 guys, and they were just like watching for a second, and I was like, hello. Sorry.
No, but so, yeah.
Distractions.
I think though that, there's definitely a benefit to both, but yeah, I agree with you on the Ireland. I think that was a really good example of a trip, I think, where we have gone through a lot in our friendship in terms of like challenges, and handled them very gracefully, I think, in our friendship. But I will say, I think Ireland was one of our toughest, but I think it was because we then got there and realized the locals don't really give you the suggestions like we would think. Like here, when we got to Denver, I talked to a few locals and they were like, you need to go to this place, you need to go to that place. So we started looking at these places.
Well, and I will say, like, the first guy was a little weird about when you came up and asked him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he wasn't a big fan of that. I'm a social person. I can't help that. And I try to take the cue.
But they were, I agree with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I do agree. I think that Denver was much more, like, the people here are much more receptive.
And open to, like, people conversating that you don't know.
And I remember Ireland, it was the women that were
really
more
rough,
snappy, and more, like, blunt and dry, and, like, I don't want to help.
And maybe some of that is because of where we're from. We're very used to being girls. And, like, even if you don't actually have a friendship with somebody, it's just kindness.
Yeah.
And so we would, like,
it was just very, like a culture shock in a sense. It was, like, taken aback. Like,
it was more cold than it was friendly.
But the guys were really friendly.
Yeah, and not in a weird way. They were just kind people.
They were kind, yeah.
But we went through a lot in that trip because we went through with people that we were hoping to get to visit and get to meet people and, like, really get some suggestions from more local people, but that wasn't the case. And then on top of that, we both got sick laterally. So we didn't get sick at the same time. We got sick, like, one person got sick and then
me. Yeah.
And that made it really hard for us. And then we were changing our plans because we had more fun somewhere else and we were feeling like we were hitting a dead end. Then we had to change where we were staying. Like, we had a lot of challenges. It was a great trip. It was just, there was a lot happening in that trip.
There were a lot of, like, stressors. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. There were a lot of, like, stressors throughout that trip, and a lot of like situations that were really overstimulating or really, like, stressful. Like, I think we mentioned this in one of our videos already, but, like, driving in Ireland, oh my gosh, I almost pooped my pants. It was my idea. I will fully own it, and you know what? I don't regret it. It was an experience.
It was an experience.
We can talk about it now fondly. We're still alive. We are still alive. But there was definitely moments
we're still
where
friends.
I was, like,
we're still alive.
I was literally, like, shaking to my bones. I, like, had to switch out because I was like, we're gonna get hit, and I can't do this right now. My body was, like,
and it was really
cut
because of how small the roads were. Because, like, we're driving here in Denver, we're super comfortable. Like, it's not.
But it's like American roads versus European roads.
They're
so different.
small.
Well, and I don't know if it's, like, all European roads or if it was just
Ireland.
Because I took a tour with my mom in Italy, and we had a guy that was driving us, like a tour guide, and that one wasn't bad. Like, those roads were normal. It was just like.
And I know, like, in the United Kingdom as a whole and Ireland, I think they're the only two places that
drive on the opposite side.
Drive on the opposite side of us, so or of the road, like unlike we do.
So when we were driving on the opposite side, and then the roads were really small, we were just stressed, and we were, like, pooping our pants the entire time.
But that was definitely, I think, to me, one of the trips where we would have benefited better from an itinerary. And we were able to talk about that and see about that more later. So now, like.
But I think it's good because, like, now we know what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And I think, like, if there's a place that you've gone next, like, wherever we go next, like, we can go based off of what your experiences are.
Yeah, and, like, this can be much more free-spirited. This trip is, like, Denver is so much more free-spirited in the sense of, like, we're comfortable, we're
kind of taking it day by day. Like, if there's something that we want to do, we're like, we're gonna do it, and, like, yeah.
But something we did a little different this time is that we looked at a few places before we came, just so that way we didn't end up in a hotel room for 2 hours looking at.
Yes.
Well, if we wanted to get something to eat, are there options beside us? We went ahead and instead of creating an itinerary, what we did is created, like, an options list,
or, like, almost like a mood board in a sense, where it was. Well, it wasn't necessarily a mood board. It was like it was still in sheets. But it was, like, a list with just names of places, and then, like, if we found them on TikTok, we would link them, like, hyperlink them. And that way we knew what we were looking at when we got here. And you sectioned them by, like.
I think I sectioned them by, like, sites to see versus, like, food, and then coffee, because her and I always prioritize coffee.
Which we had really great coffee this morning.
Oh, it was so good.
It had the most stunning
Beautiful
views.
Oh my god.
We will get into that in our debrief.
We might go back. Anyways,
that might be a trip for tomorrow.
We'll have coffee twice tomorrow. But yeah, I think like we didn't know though the type of planners we were until we started traveling more. And granted, I'll say this: Abby was more of a traveler by the time I met her than I ever was. I didn't take my first flight until I think I was 21, 22.
Yeah.
So this is something in the last 6-7 years that I've started to learn.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's just like definitely part of it, but I think just like understanding like where your personalities might be very different, you can find really good ways to
Happy
make them
mediums.
parallel.
Yeah. I agree.
And you know, there's pros and cons to both of them, because like it's usually like, you know, when the planner gets stressed and the free spirit one gets lost, it's like we're both wandering at this point. Like,
And I would say we both like teeter type A, type B. Like if you're type A one day, I'm type B. It's like go with the flow, and then like we'll switch off. And if we need to both be type A, we will be.
Yeah.
And if we can both be type B, then we will be. It just, I think that's something that's come with our years of travel too.
And just, I think like really some of the main things is just being willing to compromise if there's something you're not coming together on. You can find a good compromise somewhere, in the sense of like tonight we were trying to figure out where we were going to film for this podcast, and some of it was just like our communications. We received them, we heard the same thing, received them differently. And so we were like trying to figure out where we were going to be and stuff, and we were like having like discussion about what sides would be better. Well, if this is this, then why don't we do this? And finally we were just like, you know what, let's just find a calm environment. We both really like something like that.
And we upgraded. We got new mics.
We did, thanks to the feedback from you guys, our listeners. Coda, shout out, love you. Anyways,
I was like, oh my gosh, I love that feedback. Okay, we can fix that.
Because y'all were saying that sometimes there was like some sounds
from when
and
we were
stuff.
moving and teetering it. I just like to mess with something. Like if I have something in my hand, I will mess with it. But I was like, okay, we can fix that. That's easy fix.
Yeah, so we decided we upgraded to these, and hopefully this audio will be better. But if you
DJI, we love you.
Yes.
I've always used you. I love you.
But if you do feel like, yes, please. Anyway, but if you do feel like this is better for our travels, please let us know. And also,
what would you like to see?
Yeah, because we have some pre-planned things that we're really excited for, especially throughout the rest of this year. I think you guys are going to be taken on a journey, because part of our Carry On Conversation series is that we will be traveling to these places and debriefing about these places and what we have found are our pros and cons in these places.
Like what we love and what we don't love. I had a different word in mind, but then I saw somebody walk by and I lost it.
But
attention span of a squirrel.
But that's really like important.
Yeah.
And these are also from our opinions and how we live our life and how we choose to live our life, right? So just take that also in the back of your head of like, if you know you enjoy something else more than we're just telling you our pros and cons based on our personalities.
And it might be different from you. Like what we enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis might be completely different. I would say we're definitely not ravers, so you're not going to catch us at a rave.
Probably not.
Or
not at this
festival
age.
like that. So
maybe when I was younger. Yeah, not right now.
I think when I was younger, I would have been more adventurous to go. But I think knowing what I know now, I'm like, oh, it just doesn't. It seems like it would drain me.
I think what's hard is like I'm a total like person that loves to get out. I'm super social. I love to go dancing and stuff like that. But I'm not in the party scene. And so that's social dancing versus partying are two different things, and that's really hard to find. But
I'm more like, I don't mind going out. Like I will join you. But I'm like, I'm gonna be the friend that's sitting in the back.
But we still have a good time. Like both of us still have a really good time. And I'll come sit over. We'll have a drink, whatever. We hang out. She finds somebody to talk to. I find somebody to talk to. And it's like just other girls. Like there's some girls that I've met that I'm
like, oh my gosh, we're friends.
Yes, that at dance places like I've met before, and we still talk. And it's been months. And we hang out. We see if each other are going to the same places, that kind of thing. It's just really sweet just to have that. But one of the things I did want to clarify too about this series is that this series is going to be ongoing, but it won't be every episode. So
it'll be just as we can. Like when we can travel, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna bring you guys along.
So this is a segment our carry on conversation series, and then our day-to-day messy moments.
Will continue to go on. So you're
Yes.
basically just living life with us
Mhm.
at this point, like topics that we can talk about and where we can bring you on our travels.
Yes, and if
We
you guys
will.
want to hear more too, anything specific about our travels, or if there's anything that you feel like you would want to hear more about, just from our perspectives. Obviously, we are learning things every day. We have already had our fair share of oopsies on this trip.
Yeah.
But at this time, it's just funny because I think we're just in a season of life where we just laugh.
And you're just like, oh my gosh, of course that would happen to us.
It's fine, and it's one of those things. We build a bridge, we keep walking.
Yeah. And
But
so it got to the point where I was just like, oh, maybe we should just have like an oopsie budget.
yes, and that was one of the things that we have learned through our travels is oopsie budgets.
And that came from this trip. It was like we should definitely add an oopsie budget to our expenses,
Maybe,
just to have like, in case something goes wrong, like we have like money already set aside.
or if at the end of the trip you want to splurge a little more, you at least already have something if you didn't have that issue happen, right? But then that way,
or you have that money back, like you have so much freedom with it now. But it takes that stress off of like when
the
something
financial
does happen.
burden. So that's like what we have coming forward, and we're so excited to talk to you in the next episode about a few things and about our Denver trip. But yes, so if you guys have anything to let us know, please. We've really been comment, please, and also we thank you guys for listening, because this has been really fun for her and I, and we've talked about it for so long. We're having
really
a good time.
Excited. I remember like mentioning at the beginning of the year, we got together and I was like, I just really feel like we need to be obedient this year. Like me specifically too, I was just like, I just feel like God's telling me to be more obedient. And this was one of those things where it was like, okay, we either take the step and leap of faith right now, or we never do it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing too big that you can ask God
that he won't answer, because let me share a praise with you guys. This is like something so off topic, but like speaking of that, I just feel like to testify to that, or attest to that, like just to be very transparent, I was in a good amount of debt because of my divorce, and that was we're going on 3 years, right? This has been a while that I've been trying to get out of this hole, and I've been praying to God a lot about it. It has brought me a lot of stress in my life. And I had a car accident about a month ago, and I was really angry because I was like, another thing. And my car that I got was a very normal car, but it was the first thing I had ever picked out for myself, and I was really grateful for. And so then I felt like it was taken away from me. And it's so crazy because God blessed me tenfold, that even though I was stuck in this situation, it was crummy. Didn't want to be in it. First off, I was healthy, nothing wrong with me when I walked out. That car protected me. But also,
God protected you.
He didn't just protect me. He also provided for me in a way that I have been praying for a long time. And with what I had between some of the overtime that I had worked that month and the extra equity I had in my vehicle, I was able to pay off my debt. And I can't tell you what a God thing that is, because that has, this has been weighing on me for so long, because I'm a very reasonable person with my finances, and that has really been hard on me. And so I think just like understanding, you really can't ask too much, even in a bad situation. God will come back and be like, I heard you in your prayer. My answer is a yes. But my answer may not look like the yes that you perceive.
Yes, and He will always answer your prayers tenfold when you believe in Him and walk in that faith. Because another thing too that He answered in this situation. I'm employed now.
Oh my gosh, we have so many good updates.
It was definitely such a God thing. Like, I could not have asked for a better company, a better situation. Like,
I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
But like, yes, He is answering everything, because we just put it in His hands. We gave that over to Him and surrendered it, and He has been answering our prayers tenfold. Please don't cry. I'm trying really hard to can't look at you. We're really gonna start crying. Okay, but yes, but all that to say is, when you walk faithfully with God and you trust Him fully, even when you don't know your next step, He will always be there. He is a constant, and He is never going to leave you. Nothing you can do can separate you from God. And let us be a testimony to that.
and
like,
be able to attest to that, and to be a
Yes.
testament in that, a testimony in that. Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
English is not working for me today.
Stop it.
But it's just like, it's really beautiful because her and I have had such different battles and struggles this year.
Yeah.
And I think like God is just so good. And I think
Mhm.
specifically on this trip, like just like today I was driving and I was like seeing everything God like made. I was just like happy, I'm gonna cry.
Just like cry, let it out. It's beautiful.
But it was just because it was just like, I am so stunned and in wonder of the creator that we have, and the fact that even when we literally cannot physically comprehend or see a way out, like I genuinely was like coming to this like feeling of like, I'm never gonna get out of this, I'm never gonna. And then it was like God was like, kid, I've heard you this whole time.
Yeah.
You needed to trust my process. And
there's a reason
on top
for
of that,
everything.
that double blessing was me being able to negotiate to get zeroed down on my car that I have now, and pay the same that I was paying on my other car. So I'm able to like financially be fine.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So just don't ever think that your ask is too big, because now we're doing a podcast and now we get to share that together, and we're so grateful.
We get to share these experiences with you guys,
Yeah.
and it's just a blessing. All around it is a blessing to be able to be in the place that we're at, and allow God to use in His plans.
Yeah.
But with all that being said,
yeah, that was a little lengthy. Sorry.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If there's anything that you guys need from us, any prayers or anything, or if you guys have any suggestions, please let us know.
Yes.
We love to hear them. She was telling me on the way to the airport, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that feedback. I want more.
Yeah, about the microphones.
That helps us like know what's working, what's not working. And I work in marketing, and that's like my whole thing is like, okay, what works, what doesn't, and like how do we pivot?
Do we talk too much? Yes, but that's not the issue. The issue is, are we staying on track?
Hey, you know what? We talk too much. We're making a podcast. I feel like those two things go hand in hand.
Exactly, and you hopefully want to listen.
Hopefully, if you've made it this far, you want to listen. I hope.
Yeah, but thank you for like tuning into our messy moments today, and for being a listener and watching us and supporting us on our journey.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Yeah. We will be talking about...
I can't remember, but we have it written out.
We do too. And then after that, we have our review of Denver.
We have quite a few coming up.
So keep an eye on that. We'll be posting every Monday morning.
7 a.m. Yep. So
just in time for your morning commute.
Yes.
So with all that
said, your day off right.
Yeah. With all that said, thank you for joining us for those messy moments, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.